Let's make my Capri Breeze Fat Quarter quilt pattern, which is beginner friendly and has a jumbo quilt block. Now I am using 16 fat quarters for this pattern, yielding a large lap size quilt measuring at 56 inches by 56 inches. But once all of your fat quarters are ironed, you will cut four 4.5-inch squares, one 7.5-inch square, and two 4-inch by 14.5-inch rectangles from each fat quarter. Then once everything is cut, you will select four 4.5-inch squares in one print and four 4.5-inch squares in a contrasting print. Then with the lighter fabric square, on the wrong side, you are going to draw a 45-degree line from corner to corner with a fabric marking tool. Then you will select one of those 4.5-inch squares from each print and lay them right side together and sew a 1/4-inch seam allowance on both sides of that line you just drew to create a 4-inch half square triangle. And all you have to do is repeat this step until you have made a total of 8 matching half square triangles. Then with those 8 half square triangles, you will create 2 matching pinwheel blocks, and you'll sew your blocks together to form rows, and then lastly sew your rows together to complete a 7.5-inch square pinwheel block. Then with those 2 pinwheel blocks, you will select the matching 7.5-inch square prints from within your pinwheel, and you will sew the 7.5-inch square on the left side of your pinwheel, and you'll want to create 2 of these, of course, in the opposite prints. Then lastly, you will sew the 2 4-inch by 14.5-inch rectangles on the top and the bottom of the matching unit you just created, and you're basically forming 2 blocks that are the inverse of each other. And then once your rectangles are sewn to your units, you will then be left with a 14.5-inch square. Then all you have to do is repeat this step until you have formed a total of 16 quilt blocks. Now once all of your blocks are completed, you will lay each matching set side by side with the pinwheels touching in a 4x4 block layout. Then for the even rows, you will offset your blocks, and all you have to do is sew your blocks together to form rows, and then lastly sew your rows together to complete your quilt top. And here is what my quilt looks like all completed. Since these blocks are large, stay to the end to see the full-size quilt, but moving forward for the backing, I am using a matching print from within the collection, and for the thread choice, I am going with glide threads in the color Bone. And here is what my quilt looks like all quilted. For the quilting, I have selected Jetty by Carly Porter. And Capri Breeze is the perfect quilt for bed-size quilts with its jumbo quilt block. So if you would like to go larger, one fat quarter is basically one quilt block, so feel free to expand however you wish. But I do hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial. If you could please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified for your next amazing quilt project.